Matthew here from MiniWarGaming.com. I want to talk to you about Ruins of Perdition and all the different cool buildings that you can build with it. There are so many options with it. If you buy the full table set, it gives you everything you need to make L-shaped ruins, small scatter terrain, U-shaped ruins, stackable buildings, and even more. If you own a 3D printer and you buy the STL set, it gives you tons of options as well. And we'll have all sorts of add-ons and things in the Kickstarter as well as in the Forge after the Kickstarter that will let you basically build out tables exactly the way you want to. So I have all sorts of stuff here. We've been printing for quite a while. Just to give you an idea, this tote right here, this is a really useful box. That's literally the brand name. I'm not just saying that it's really useful. This is one of their 31 liter ones, and it holds roughly almost 3 tables worth of the Ruins of Perdition terrain. But we decided to organize it so we have all of the walls in the one, we've got the floors in another, and we've got interior walls, which we'll talk about soon, and then the columns that you need to build everything. If you keep them organized, then you can actually build your tables really, really quickly. Allow me to demonstrate. The most common ruin or building that you see in a game of Warhammer 40k is, of course, our L-shaped ruin. We all make jokes about it, but there's a reason that it exists. It is very useful on the table. It provides cover, blocks line of sight, but it doesn't take up so much space that you can't fit miniatures in there. So we take one of these L columns, let's just grab one of our magnetized walls, and if you magnetize it properly, it clicks right in there. And let's see, we have all sorts of sizes in here. We want to just do a big one to start. Well, you know what? Let's let it determine based off of one of these. So we're going to take a floor. Now the floors aren't magnetized. They all have a tongue and groove mechanism that works really well to stabilize it. So these ones are grooved on 2 sides, so they're meant for L's. If they're grooved on 3 sides, they are designed for U-shaped buildings. And of course, if they're grooved on all 4 sides, like this one, they're designed for intact buildings, not ruins. And so we can take this, actually I just grabbed the wrong one. Let's just switch it. So we have 1, 2, 3 grooves, 1, 2, 3, or tongues and grooves, whatever. And we can just fit those in there nicely. So you can see that, but it's not quite stable yet because we don't have the other part of the wall. So we're going to take another wall, we're going to click it in there, and we are going to slot in the tongues, just like that. And see how nice and sturdy that is? And we have an L-shaped ruin that you can fit models inside of, as well as on top of. It's also designed to be the right height for both coherency and combat. It's about 5 inches tall, which means if you have guys on top, they can be charged by bringing guys underneath, or the same thing goes for coherency. If a squad is on top and down here, they are in coherency. So let me represent again just how quickly you can do that, because I was doing a lot of talking. If you have all your pieces ready to go, then you can just click, click, and then these take a moment longer because they're tongue and groove. And there is our L-shaped ruin. Now there are ways to extend this, of course. Let's see if I can quickly find them. We have L-shaped, and somewhere in here we have our T's as well. And of course, oh, there we go. Here is a T. So not a T, sorry, a straight one. So the straight ones, I'm not sure if you can see that by looking straight down. They only have 2 sides, 1 and 2, but they're, instead of being L's, they just extend. So we can stick these on either side like that. And then we can take either another wall, but what I like to do in this case is take one that's ruined completely, that doesn't have a ceiling, and they should be able to just click right on there, extending it one way. And we have all sorts of these, so let's just grab another one. We have shorter ones too, so there's the full length there. So if you look at this as like 4 length, so like 4 tiles, we have them 4 length, 3 length, 2 length, and I think this is about as small as they get. So I happen to find some big ones here. So you could extend them like that if you really wanted to. Now that's a little big, I'd probably use smaller ones to do that. And if you're making the ones for the full table for the Pariah Nexus tournament pack, then this is a good way to actually extend it out to the full size, rather than having to use one of those acrylic rectangles, which I think don't look good on the table, but at least are useful for the game. So you can use these to extend it out so you get your full footprint instead. So that's your L shape. So we can take this even further, and we can go to a U-shaped one as well, which all it basically requires is another L, and then another wall. Now this one might take me a second longer to find an appropriate floor, but you can see this every size floor imaginable that you really need. Now here's a 3-prong side one. Now this isn't going to be perfect because I didn't take the time to find the right wall for it, but we can still throw it in there, and I'll demonstrate exactly how that works. So for the L or for the U-shaped ones, as you can probably guess, we just pop it in so that the grooves slide in 1, 2, and 3 sides. Just gotta sometimes wiggle it in there. It's nice and firm. You can see your miniatures are not going to fall off the top there. I don't know if I'm making James nervous as he's watching me as he's behind the camera right there. But there is your U-shaped build, and you can see just how sturdy it actually is. It's okay if it comes off. Just clicks right back on. And you shouldn't be whipping around your train like that anyways. And the cool stuff about this is that we can continue. We can take a destroyed column, like one of these. We've got an L-shaped destroyed column, and these are shorter on purpose, and that way they can click into these. Once again, I have these longer ones, but that's still fine. And then they can go on top. And you can make the ruin even cooler. Or, if we really want to get crazy, and if you don't mind sitting here watching the video for a little longer, then what I will do is I will make another one. Let's grab another L shape, or L1, L, click, stick this one in there. Now this happens to be the same type of floor, which is a little boring. You might want to change it up and have it a little smaller. And that can go on top, and that can go on top of that, and so on and so forth. So you can have a multi-level ruin, which is designed for coherency and also for combat. Now, one of the things, this was all from something that we did in My Mini Factory Frontier, so it was already available, but what I really wanted to do to really flesh out the Kickstarter pack is to allow you to create full buildings as well. So not just ruins, but actual full buildings. And so what we did for those is we have these. Now, these come in all sorts. They come in with the grooves all around them, and they also come in grooves on all but one side. And I'm going to demonstrate why we have those two options right now. So let's start with the one that goes all the way around. So we're going to quickly throw together a building. Once again, demonstrating just how fast this can go. So we're going to grab 3 walls for this one. As you'll see in a second, we'll grab 3 L's. And let's make sure I got this on the right side up. That's a click. That's a click. Let's just get this in here. So we got grooves on the one side, nice and snug in there. And they're very sturdy too. They're nice, they're big enough that they're not going to break. We've already been using these a lot, and we still haven't had one of these snap. That's one of the things I was worried about, that the tongue and groove mechanism wouldn't be sturdy. But even with just regular PLA, which is like your simplest type of material that you use for 3D printing, it is nice and sturdy. We'll put another L right there. And then we'll attach one more wall. Okay, so I'll stop there for a second, because what I could do is I could attach 2 more L's and 1 more wall, and then would have an intact building. You can kind of picture what it would look like from this side. But we decided to add on another feature, which I am very excited about, and that is interior walls. So let me see if I can find my columns. So for these, you have T columns. So T columns have 1, 2, 3 sides to them. There's also cross columns, which I don't have any here to demonstrate, which have all 4 of them, so you can make really interior walls as well. So with these combined with interior walls, you can make any shape building that you want. And if you're thinking, well, any shape as long as they're in these large spots or large pieces, it's not true. We actually have them in 2x2 and 3x3 as well. So you really have a ton of flexibility, and I'll showcase that in another video. So you take the T's and you click them on. And then we take, let's take an interior wall. Let's grab, this one is totally intact. I like that, although maybe you'd want one with a door to represent that you can go from room to room. And this just clicks on the inside. In fact, it might be easier to put the wall on first and then click on the columns. So we put the wall there, and then we're just going to snugly, I'm going to get rid of those, they're in my way. So it is easier to put the wall on first. This one is being a little fussier. I think it's the first time using it, so the paint is still... You know what? Let me flip it around. All right, 1. There we go. That was easier. I think the paint was just a little dry on the one side, because we just got these from Adam this morning, which is why I'm so excited to show it to you. And then we can click on the T's to secure it in place. Now, we can extend it. And this is why we have a second one with one side without the tabs. Because of how deep the tabs are, they take up this entire strip. So you can't actually have tabs coming in both sides. So the simple solution to that is, well, have one side without tabs. And if you're worried about how strong that'll be, well, let me demonstrate what it looks like when it's done. Having the proper size walls. You know what? Okay, there we are. Might have to pillage one from the other ones. So we're going to stick that there. You know, while we're at it, let's attach this to it so it doesn't attach right here. And then we'll attach it on this side. 1, 2, and 3 only in this one. And then click it in there. And then we take 2 more L's. Come on, where are you? There we are. Click one right there, and we'll keep that one just out of the way for a second. Let's grab one more wall. Here's a nice intact one. We're going to click it in there. Boom, boom, L, and L. Nice strong building. It's actually pretty easy to pull apart if you need to, and then click right back in. Magnets are nice and strong, so as you move it around, no problem. And even if as you move it around, it pops off, no problem, it just clicks right back in there. So that can form a nice solid foundation for a bigger building. Like I said, you can keep adding more of these T's and extending it out, or when we get the cross ones, which I do have, they're getting painted right now, you could have it also go this way. You could make it as big as the table if you wanted to. And then it provides a foundation for adding even more stuff on top of it. Oh, that one's falling apart right there. Let me just turn it. So we could do something like this, or maybe make it even more interesting, have that one over there. And this one could go right here. And we could keep going. I could keep making it taller. I could make it wider. I can add terrain inside of here. So we can throw some scatter terrain in there, and you can see just how flexible it happens to be. And once again, nice and solid for all your miniatures, so you don't have to worry about it falling apart. And this entire building, I want you to notice, for the last part of this video, you can see just how much we are storing everywhere. But let's just look at this building in particular and how big it is. Look how much space it would take up on a shelf if you had a building of this size. But when we pull it all apart and collapse it, how much space does it actually take up? And I won't even do this well. I'll just pull it apart really fast so that you're not too bored watching this. And our last one, and you can see how well it pulls apart as well. It does not take long to clean this. There. That's how much that building takes up in your shelf. It is so compact, which means not only does it take up so little space in your own storage, but when we ship it to you, if you don't have a 3D printer, the shipping cost is way lower than some of the other terrain sets that we've done in the past. And that's what excites me most. One of these bins, we would need 2 of these bins to ship you the Ruins of Draenfell full table set. For this one, it takes up almost only a third of one of these. It's 5 times more compact than our other set, which represents typically the size of terrain takes up on your shelf. So 5 times more compact, which makes it cheaper for shipping, less storage, tons of variety. I could make a lot of a table with this, or I could make one really cool building, infinite options, and then you can also add on really cool stuff like the statues and scatter terrain to really fill out your table and give it more character. So excited for this. Now we do have a Kickstarter for this. Depending on when you watch this video, either it's in pre-launch or it's launched or it's done and you can go and buy it on our site. Either way, if you go to miniwargaming.com/perdition, you can check it out. We've got really good deals for full tables. We got all sorts of add-ons. You can buy the magnets from us as well, or you can buy them somewhere else, but they're available both as add-ons in the Kickstarter and at forge.miniwargaming.com. For this, you want 3/16 by 1/16 of an inch magnets. In metric, that's about 4.8 millimeters by 1.6 millimeters. So all of that available at miniwargaming.com/perdition. Go check it out. Happy wargaming.